Good morning. Thank you for joining our virtual broadcast here at First Unitarian Church of Toledo. We love seeing you on YouTube every week, and we miss seeing you in person here at the church. Though we just announced that groups of 10 or fewer can use Fellowship Hall by reservation, it's important to note that that does depend on Lucas County not being in condition red for the coronavirus. Well, this past week, our county went back to red, so in-person activities are suspended for the time being. Everybody stay safe and keep washing your hands.
Our opening words are by Thich Nhat, and our entire service today is centered on Thich Nhat. The past is gone, the future is not yet here, and if we do not go back to ourselves in the present moment, we cannot be in touch with life. And as Mickey reads our chalice lighting, Karen Christie, member of our congregation and of Flowing Water Sangha, will light the chalice.
We have these words by Thich Nhat Hanh. To live in the present moment is a miracle. The miracle is not to walk on water. The miracle is to walk on the green earth in the present moment, to accept the peace and beauty that are available now.
And please join me in reciting our covenant. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Our congregational singing today is from our great hymnal. It's number 197. There are numerous strings. It's a poem by Rabindranath Tagore. And one of the challenges of this is it's not one that's usually sung. So Mickey will sing, and there is a refrain, so you might become a little bit used to it.
We'll all learn it together. There are numerous strings in your lute. Let me add my own among them. There are numerous strings in your lute. Let me add my own among them. Then when you smite your chords, my heart will break its silence, and my heart will be one with your song. There are numerous strings in your lute. Let me add my own among them. Amidst your numberless stars, let me place my own little lamp. There are numerous strings in your lute. Let me add my own among them. In the dance of your festival of lights, my heart will throb and my life will be one with your smile. There are numerous strings in your lute. Let me add my own among them.
For our story time today, we have a poem by Thich Nhat Hanh, and a little bit of background for it is this is a poem that he wrote in 1967 after he visited a castle in Germany. And he said, that day I had the clear impression that I had been there before, that he had been to that castle, though he had never had been. It was his first time there. He says that the poem was also inspired by a poem written long ago by a Chinese poet who said, I left home when I was a child. Now I return with white hair and a white beard. But the dialect of the village is still same. They spoke the same language. The children see me but do not recognize me. Even though he grew up there, he became a stranger. They laugh and ask, where have you come from, old sir? So he says the poem is about non-coming and non-going. And with that, when we talk about the Buddha, there are several titles for the Buddha. One is Tathagata. Is called the one who has come from suchness or ultimate reality and who will go to suchness. So he says that there's a term that means one who has come from nowhere and will go nowhere, but those are kind of two different places. And Thich Nhat Hanh says there are ways to get from one to the other. So as he thinks about that, he says, in my tradition, people say that if you respect an old man, you will live a long life. If you don't, you will die young. In the Vietnamese home, and he is from Vietnam, we usually see 3 generations living together, sometimes 4. It is the grandparents who tell fairy tales to their grandchildren. They need each other. The old people have become children again, he says. It's very natural that grandparents and grandkids play together. The young couple thinks more of the future. Sometimes they consider their old parents as young children, and they love them as children. So with that, those are ways that might help to understand the poem. So now this is the song of no coming and no going. When I left home, I was a child. Now I return an old man. Villagers still speak with the same accent, but my hair and beard are completely white. The village children see me but don't recognize me. They look at each other and giggle. Where have you come from, old sir? Where have you come from, old sir? I have come from the same place you have, yet you don't know there is a link between us. I stroked my snow white beard this morning. The young leaves on the trees are new and green. They see no link between themselves and the seed that took root so many years ago on this very land. Villagers still speak with the same accent, but after so many years, the village has become your village. To your puzzled eyes, I am only a strange old visitor arriving from some unknown world. To come or to go, to depart or to return, who among us is not a wanderer? Where have you come from, old sir? You don't see. How could you? Even if I sing to you the old songs I learned in this village, I would still be a stranger in your eyes. When I tell you this is my village, your eyes dance and you laugh. And I laugh too when you say I am just telling a story. The bamboo trees, the riverbank, the village hall, everything is still here. They have changed, yet they haven't. A new bamboo shoot, a new red tiled roof, a new small lane, a new child. What is the purpose of my return? I don't know. There is a haunting image of the past. The traveler has no real point of departure and no point of arrival. Who is he, this explorer of the triple worlds? As if to a former life, the sweet potatoes and turnips, the hay, the cottage, I come back to my village. But those with whom I worked and sang are strangers to those I find today. Everywhere are the children, the red tiled roofs, the narrow lanes. The past and the future look at each other, and the two shores suddenly become one. The path of return continues the journey. And now it's anthem time. We have a treat today with our choir singing.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within. And we will get there, heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within. And we will get there, heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within. And we will get there, heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah yeah, 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 oh yeah yeah.
Good morning. Many of you know that I am a member of Flowing Waters Sangha, a meditation group in the tradition of Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh is also known as Thai for teacher. Lynn Lyle introduced many of us to Thai when she shared teachings from his book, The Heart of the Buddha's Teaching. That was almost 20 years ago here at church. Lynn first met Thich Nhat Hanh at a retreat in the 1980s, and at his prompting, she began a meditation group in her home that eventually led to the founding of Flowing Waters Sangha. A Sangha is simply a community that practices together and supports each other. Throughout this pandemic, we've been meeting on Zoom for our meditation sessions on Sunday and Tuesday evenings. This practice of meditating together has helped us to nourish positive qualities within ourselves and each other so that we can live with greater equanimity in the midst of all that is going on around us. We would love to have you join us. The Zoom link for each of these sessions is posted in the UUFYI. I'm grateful to Reverend Tim for the invitation to lead the meditation today as we honor Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich has so many beautiful meditations, it was no easy matter deciding which meditation to offer. The one I will share is known as the loving kindness meditation. This particular version is from the Plum Village chanting book written by Thich Nhat Hanh and the monks and nuns of Plum Village. Traditionally, when we practice this meditation, we begin by sending love and loving kindness to ourselves, then to someone we love, then to a more neutral person, perhaps somebody that's working in the grocery store, a clerk. And then we send loving kindness to someone that we find difficult or someone that has hurt us in some way. And lastly, we offer loving kindness to all living beings throughout the universe. Today, for the sake of time, we will be sending loving kindness to ourselves. So I invite you to sit comfortably in a relaxed position. You may want to close your eyes and give your attention to your breathing. And I will begin in the words of Thich Nhat Hanh. May I be peaceful, happy, and light in body and spirit. May I be safe and free from injury. May I be free from anger, fear, and anxiety. May I learn to look at myself with the eyes of understanding and love. May I be able to recognize and touch the seeds of joy and happiness in myself. May I learn to identify and see the sources of anger, craving, and delusion in myself. May I know how to nourish the seeds of joy in myself every day. May I be able to live fresh, solid, and free. May I be free from attachment and aversion, but not be indifferent. And now we will enjoy a minute of silence together.
Our reading today is also by Thich Nhat Hanh. We are very good at preparing to live, but not very good at living. We know how to sacrifice 10 years for a diploma, and we are willing to work very hard to get a job, a car, a house, and so on. But we have difficulty remembering that we are alive in the present moment, the only moment there is for us to be alive.
Today's service is a tribute in honor of Thich Nhat Hanh, who celebrated his 94th birthday, or what he and his followers call his continuation day, 1 week ago. Don't pay attention to the posts you might have seen on Facebook saying that Thich Nhat Hanh has chosen to stop eating and therefore is actively dying. That's not so. Apparently, someone was alarmed that Buddhist teachers were traveling to his home monastery from all around, but their advance arrangements in order to quarantine on arrival because of the COVID-19 pandemic, combined with his condition after a stroke almost 6 years ago, might have caused some confusion. Word is that they went to him simply to celebrate his reaching the age of 94. Here's word from Plum Village, compiled from a few postings on Plum Village's website. Thich Nhat Hanh founded Plum Village as a global community of Buddhist centers teaching mindfulness and engaged Buddhism. What they said is, on the 11th of November 2014, a month after his 88th birthday, and following several months of rapidly declining health, Thich Nhat Hanh suffered a severe brain hemorrhage, a stroke. Although he is still unable to speak and is mostly paralyzed on the right side, he has continued to offer the Dharma and inspiration through his peaceful, serene, and valiant presence. Thich Nhat Hanh is currently residing at Tu Hieu Temple in Vietnam, the monastery he entered at age 16 at the beginning of his monkhood 78 years ago. He has expressed a wish to stay there for his remaining days. He comes out regularly in his wheelchair to visit the temple altars and to lead the Sangha on walking meditation around the ponds and ancestral stupas. The temple has been closed to the public during the pandemic, and measures are in effect to protect his health. Thay's health is still very variable, with times when he is weak and other times when he is stronger. His spirit remains bright and strong, but his body has been notably weaker. He has a medical team and monastic attendants caring for him. He doesn't have much appetite, but his health is stable. There is no immediate cause for concern. For us, that means that today is a good time to have a service in his honor, in tribute to him while he shares life on this earth with us. Plum Village has stated that Thich Nhat Hanh's return to Tu Hieu, a place from which governments had exiled him from 1966 to 2005, after his calling for an end to hostilities in Vietnam, and traveling the world to encourage peace, and which he moved back to permanently in 2018 after many years at the Plum Village Monastery in France. That has been a bell of mindfulness, reminding us all of how precious it is to belong to a spiritual lineage with deep roots, the people from Plum Village say. Whether we have attended a retreat or simply read one of Thay's books or watched a talk and have been touched by his teachings, We are all connected to this ancestral stream of wisdom and compassion. Now, let me say something about his name. I'm not the best at pronunciation, so let me read how Plum Village says to say his name. The English pronunciation is Thich Nhat Hanh. However, since Vietnamese is a tonal language, this is only a close approximation of how one would pronounce it in Vietnamese. By his students, he is affectionately known as, spelled T-H-A-Y, pronounced Tay or Tai, which is Vietnamese for teacher. And I will also give a little about his life. Born in 1926 in Vietnam, he became a monk at age 16. As I understand it, his full monk ordination came at age 25. There's a lot about Buddhist ordination practices that differ from the ways we have in Unitarian Universalist ministry, for example. At age 40, he received lamp transmission from his teacher and was formally a teacher of the Dharma. He has been a teacher of religion at Princeton, Columbia, the Sorbonne, and other institutions of education. He also founded mindfulness centers and or monasteries in many places worldwide, developed the concept of engaged Buddhism, a type of activism, especially in some ways for peace, but illustrating being part of the world and working for change rather than being withdrawn in seated meditation. A fairly recent project is Wake Up, training young people in mindful living. His work for peace was why Martin Luther King Jr., the 1964 recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize, nominated Thich Nhat Hanh for the Peace Prize in 1967. The Nobel Committee did not give a prize that year. It is probably his teaching via Plum Village and its retreats and conferences that is his continuing contribution. There have been Toledo Unitarians who have met Thich Nhat Hanh, as you heard Karen say, and studied with him, like Lynn Lyle did. Others who might not have met him personally, but are part of the Plum Village community of engaged Buddhism, and gone to a Plum Village practice center in the United States, I know Pat Buchanan has, in France or elsewhere, to immerse in their own Buddhist practice. And in Toledo, we have the Flowing Water Sangha, which has several members who are also Toledo Unitarians. I remind us all that Unitarian Universalism is not a one and only path, but is open to the individual spiritual journey. So we have Unitarian Universalists who are also practicing Buddhists. Some follow Thich Nhat Hanh, some focus on Tibetan Buddhism, and those aren't exclusive categories, as different paths of Buddhism are closer in many ways than the Christian denominations we witness in the West. There are others who are Unitarian Universalist Christians, Unitarian Universalist humanists, Unitarian Universalist pagans, Unitarian Universalist Jews, Unitarian Universalist Sufis, and on and on. So we are very comfortable having Flowing Water Sangha and First Unitarian Church of Toledo coexisting. I have not met Thich Nhat Hanh or followed him as a particular leader for me, but I hope you'll be comfortable if I also use the term Tay or Tai, teacher, sometimes when I talk about him. The first time I remember encountering the name had to have been in the 1980s when I lived in Austin, Texas. There was a grocery store that had particularly good greeting cards, And I remember buying one that quoted Thich Nhat Hanh. I don't remember the saying now, decades later. I do remember the store, possibly because at the time, that was the only Whole Foods market in existence. But he does have good sayings, only a few of which we're using in today's service. Anyway, in my development as a Unitarian Universalist minister, and then while a seminarian preparing for the ministry, I had courses focused on Buddhism, including engaged Buddhism and Zen Buddhism. The activities and writings of Thich Nhat Hanh were in my lessons for those courses. And now in Toledo, having members of this congregation involved with Flowing Waters Sangha and with Plum Village, and having friendship and colleagues among those at the great Heartland Buddhist Temple of Toledo, which holds Thich Nhat Hanh in high regard as a Zen master. Thai is a teacher through congregants, through his books, and through his example. I don't know Thich Nhat Hanh's work in detail, but I continue to learn. He is a prolific author with more than 100 titles in English. 3 books that Plum Village recommends as key books are The Miracle of Mindfulness and Introduction to the Practice of Mindfulness, Peace is Every Step, The Path of Mindfulness in Everyday Life, and much of Thai's teaching includes walking meditation along with breathing meditation. So the step and path metaphors are important. And you are here discovering the magic of the present moment. On the Plum Village website, the categories of his books are meditation, handling suffering and difficulties, going deeper. This sounds very much like a minister, doesn't it? Interbeing, which is a word Thich Nhat Hanh came up with that incidentally is kind of a tie to our Unitarian Universalist seventh principle, stating respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Interbeing is based on words in his Vietnamese language that mean being in touch with and continuing and realizing and making it here and now. As Plum Village puts it, he teaches that we cannot be by ourselves. We can only interbe with all that is. The book categories continue with Zen, the Buddha's life and teachings, his own life, engaged ethics, relationships, ecology, Buddhism and Christianity, poetry, and for children. I think I found 9 books in our church to have on our table today. And there's a 2017 documentary, Walk With Me, that you might watch to learn more too. Thich Nhat Hanh, Tay, is a person to be aware of. His mindfulness teaching, his work for peace, his wisdom make the world a better place. I'll close with 2 more sentences from the Plum Village website on what Tay brings to people. With the energy of mindfulness, any action in our daily life, including walking, eating, brushing our teeth, or doing the dishes, can become joyful, relaxed, and meaningful. It's a revolutionary approach that brings peace, clarity, and insight. So be it.
We've now come to the time for our offering today. And I invite you to take a moment to reflect again on the many blessings we have received from this community. Your involvement is critical to sustaining this church. I ask that you consider what has been given to you and what you can give in gratitude each week to help your community achieve our vision of growth, visibility, and relevance. We thank everyone who has completed their pledge this year. For those who haven't or are able to support a little more in our virtual passing of the plate, please visit uutoledo.org, click on Give, and then click on Online Giving. I actually just posted a link in the comments if you'd like a shortcut, so just click on that. That might be your cup of coffee for the day. If you prefer paper bookkeeping or would just like to support the USPS with the stamp, you can send any supplemental support to First Unitarian on Glendale. The address is above. Thank you again for supporting our community.
And every week we give a coming soon, a preview of next week, basically, and after the service. But next week, our 10 a.m. Spiritual Adventures Forum has Taylor Burciaga speaking on the Day of the Dead. And then next week's 11 a.m. service, the Sunday before Halloween, is titled Bones.
And remember, again, every week we have our virtual coffee hour on Zoom. We have that meeting code and passcode on the screen. We'll have it available in the FYI, and we hope to see you there. Visitors are welcome.
Our closing words, more quotes by Thich Nhat Hanh. Around us, life bursts with miracles. A glass of water, a ray of sunshine, a leaf, a caterpillar, a flower. Laughter, raindrops. If you live in awareness, it is easy to see miracles everywhere. Being is a multiplicity of miracles. Eyes that see thousands of colors, shapes, and forms. Ears that hear a bee flying or a thunderclap. A brain that ponders a speck of dust as easily as the entire cosmos. A heart that beats in rhythm with the heartbeat of all things, of all beings. When we are tired and feel discouraged by life's daily struggles, we may not notice these miracles, but they are already there. And we'll extinguish the chalice with Karen Ashley extinguishing and Mickey reading the words.
These are again by Thich Nhat Hanh. As long as you find something beautiful, good, and true to believe in and abide by, you have the equivalent of God in your life.